Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss The Expendables, starring Sylvester Stallone, Jason Statham, Jet Li, Dolph Lundgren, Randy Couture, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Terry Crews, Mickey Rourke, and Bruce Willis, and directed by Sylvester Stallone. Now, before I get into this review, I remember going to theaters for this thing around, I don't know, say two, three, maybe four times when it was in theaters. And I watched it a few times on home viewing, and is it that much of a guilty pleasure? Let's get into the movie and we'll see. Barney Ross, played by Sylvester Stallone, and his team called the Expendables go on a pirate ship as the pirates want ransom for the Americans they've kept for 3 months. And on this expendable team is Lee Christmas, played by Jason Statham, Yin Yang, played by Jet Li, Gunnar Jensen, played by Dolph Lundgren, Toll Road, played by Randy Couture, and Hail Caesar, played by Terry Crews, as they shoot up the pirates. And I love how Jason Statham's cell phone vibrates in the middle of the scene. It just cracked me up, and they killed off all the pirates as Gunnar wants to hang one of them, and Yin Yang attacks Gunnar as they don't kill the way that way he wants to, as Barney decides to let Gunnar go from the Expendables team. And this opening scene is showing we're in sort of a fun ride. Christmas visits his girlfriend Lacey as she's with another man who's a complete asshole throughout the movie. Barney visits Tool, played by Mickey Rourke, because Barney wants to finish off his tattoo until Christmas comes in. And I'm kind of liking these characters for a Stallone movie that's not Rambo or Rocky. And to be honest, guilty as charged. On the island of Valena, as we meet a brutal dictator, General Garzo, as well as his brutal assistant, even more brutal than the dictator himself, James Monroe, as he seems more brutal than General Garzo, or Garza, excuse me, very much, in my opinion. And I'll get to him later in the film. We meet Barney at a church with a man who calls himself Mr. Church, played by Bruce Willis, as well as Trench, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Let's move on. As they greet and learn about the job on Valena, and Trench walks out, and Barney takes the job as he's bumped into Gunner, and Barney fired because he went rogue and can't trust him. And these guys are fun to watch together on screen, despite I can't take Terry Crews seriously. And just like I couldn't take him seriously in Gamer, for Christ's sakes, as he may be my least favorite character in this movie, but he will have an awesome gun later in the movie. Barney and Christmas go to Valena as they not drive, but fly there, and as they arrive, they take a look at the place and witnesses a brutal car removal by James and his assistant Payne, played by WWE's Stone Cold Steve Austin, and sees something is wrong with the place, and they meet their contact Sandra, who happens to be General Garza's daughter, and she wants James and Payne gone as they're ruining Valena. And Joe in this movie is a credible threat, and Payne is a badass because he's a fucking wrestler. And anyways, and honestly, he may be the best character in this movie, in my opinion. Some Valenian soldiers come by to take Sandra to her father, and as Christmas and Barney start killing them, and they start to get the hell out of there by driving to the plane, Barney and Christmas came to Valena in. As Sandra stays in Valena, and where the fuck does she stay there? Because it's her home. But she should have fucking left, honestly. Barney gets on the plane as Christmas starts the plane, and they almost fly away until they shoot the entrance and blow it up, and the action here is fun and entertaining at best. Gunnar joins to fight against the Expendables by telling James about Barney and his little army, and Barney and Christmas and Yin Yang thinks of telling Church the deal is off. Meanwhile, Christmas sees Lacey's face is bruised up as he shows her what he does for a living by beating the shit out of her abusive boyfriend. and his goon friends while playing basketball, which is over the top, but I laughed out loud, not too surprisingly. We get back to the tattoo shop with Tool and Barney telling him about Sandra, as she didn't want to leave as he can't get it out of his mind, which is rather pretty stupid dramatic scene, and Stallone can't pull that off anymore like he can in Rocky. Sandra is captured by Joe, and General Garza tells her she should have left Valena, and now she's held captured, and that's how stupid the character is in this movie. Barney goes to Valena, and Yin Yang comes along until Gunner tries to run over Barney, and they get to a factory where Yin Yang and Gunner fight each other off until Gunner almost kills Yin Yang, and Barney shoots Gunner as he tells Barney who hired him to kill Barney, and he tells it's Joan Monroe, and Barney and Yin Yang get to the plane as they see Christmas. Toll Road and Hail Caesar are joining Barney with Christmas and Yin Yang to fight in Valena, and the action is popcorn entertainment at best, in my opinion. I'm gonna be honest, this is guilty as charged for me. Hail Caesar tells Toll Road about his special gun, what he's going to do with the Valena soldiers, and when the Expendables arrive at Valena, Joe tells General Garza his soldiers look like fools when they look like warriors, as General Garza demands Payne to get Sandra out of captivity. Meanwhile, the Expendables sneak around and set up bombs to blow up the palace, and the score in this movie is better here than in the extended cut. I did watch both cuts, and which sounds the music in the extended cut is just sounds really distracting. Barney saves Sandra and tries to get her out of there as Payne gets Barney strangled and gets tortured as Barney makes jokes about his mother versus his hairdresser, which did he make me laugh, and the kick-ass final action sequence begins with the Expendables beating up the soldiers and killing them, as the Barney versus Payne fight is awesome as far as the B-movie entertainment is concerned. And Stallone did break a bone while during that fight scene, as it's interrupted by Hail Caesar's big-ass gun with loud bullets, and I have to say, that's a badass gun. I love that gun to death, honestly. And I'm not one to love guns, but that seriously is a badass gun. The Expendables are trapped by soldiers of Valena and General Garza, telling his warriors they will kill this American disease, led by Joe, as the final part of the kick-ass action sequence is beginning while Hail Caesar uses his big-ass gun. Christmas uses guns at times, and most of the time he uses knives to kill people. Yin Yang shoots guns. Toll Road fights Payne and puts him in a fire, killing Payne. And Barney uses his handgun like a machine gun, and I love the way he does that. Stallone knows how to deliver good action, despite how bad sometimes the movies he makes are mostly bad movies. But I love the way he shoots his handgun like a machine gun. Hail Caesar throws the missile at the choppers Joe was going to escape in, with Sandra in, and while Barney blows it up, Barney goes after Joe and Sandra, and Christmas comes behind as Barney catches up to them and shoots Joe, and Christmas throws a knife at his heart, and they both save Sandra's life, and they get out in the morning and they celebrate with drinks while Gunner and Yin Yang work out their differences, and Gunner gets his job back, and Christmas and Tool throw knives together, and the climax is great fun for a B movie, in my opinion. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 7.2 out of 10. This is B movie fun, as the characters are sort of relatable and the action is a hell of a lot of fun. But my least favorite character is Hail Caesar, because I just can't take Terry Crews seriously. But it is a fun time, and I would recommend turning off your brain while watching this movie. And I love the bloopers of Jason Statham's cell phone ringing and Stallone firing his handgun like a machine gun, and the fights are chaotic, but we'll see how the next two movies, as far as my opinions are concerned. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next time I will be back with the Expendables 2. And until next time, are you crazy? You could have killed me. You're welcome.